Expenditures this month. Today, we're going to look at how you can estimate your cost across different market channels. So, this is what we're going to go over today. We're going to talk about available market channels to small food and farm businesses. I'm going to show you a tool we've created to help you estimate the marketing cost by different market channels. And to do that, we have to go through sort of a three-step process to use this tool to make better decisions. So high level, we're going to talk about creating sales forecast. We're going to estimate costs, and then we're going to review the profit potential per unit and the overall profit in this, scenario planning. And then we're going to take a step back and kind of revisit our pricing strategies and our market portfolio for our business. So, first of all, market channels. There's a lot of different ways that food producers could be reaching consumers. Um, in this initial area, we think about these as direct marketing. So this is a farmer's market. You pick an online marketplace, a CSA, or a farm stand. There is no one in between the producer and the consumer. That means the producer can capture the full selling price. They're also responsible for the full market generating that market, finding that market, attracting that market, interacting with that market. There's no intermediary. In an intermediated market channel, there is one person in the middle between the producer and the consumer. You may be using a food co-op or a food hub. You may be working with a restaurant or an institution, or you may be selling to a retailer who then is that public-facing frame to the consumer. And that means that the trade-off here is the producer has a smaller number of people to work with, but they're also giving up part of the overall profit margin to the product. Finally, there's multi-tier market channels where there's actually multiple steps involved. Here in Missouri, we have a lot of produce auctions across the state. If you've never gone to one, I highly encourage it. It's really interesting, and they sell food by, giant pallets. And all kinds of buyers are there. A lot of restaurants come and they buy their food and then they go and serve it to customers. Other farms come and they buy and then they resell to kind of stock up their agritourism operations. So that's kind of a two-step market channel. And then when it comes to value-added production, which we talk a lot about, and we want you to be very cognizant of how to understand those opportunities and costs. But say you don't want to do that work yourself, then you may sell to a processor who then sells to a wholesaler who then sells to a retailer. And this is how a lot of, this is how cornflakes get on the shelves at the grocery store, right? So we see this a lot outside of local foods, but there are some local food growers who scale up and they're not interested in finding that marketplace, having heavy customer interaction, and they don't want to be in the processing business. They're passionate about growing and they just want to be growing at scale. Those are the kinds of farms that are well situated for multi-tier market channels. One of the important things I want you to remember is that as you're in this space, your market channels will likely change over time as your business evolves. And you have to be really thoughtful about the following questions that you see here. When you're thinking about where do I start my business? When am I ready to scale into a business, a new market channel? So we've talked about who is your target customer and how can you find them. What we haven't talked about before is the perishability of your product. That can really affect what market channels are really effective for your product or not effective. And if you have a highly perishable product, you may be needing multiple market channels to handle excess, or that's a reason a lot of people move into processing. Volume is really critical. A lot of people come to me and they say they're motivated by living in a food desert and they want to see fresher food at the local grocery store. What a lot of people don't understand is that really requires a lot of volume. and consistency that oftentimes it's hard for a small grower to satisfy. Grocery stores also stand out as having higher barriers to entry. So they'll require more grower certifications than other market channels might. Um, and the idea that you have to have a certain quantity available. So you need to be farming at scale, producing at scale in order to reach that. We're also going to think about the stability of market prices. And the produce auction example, that is not stable, right? In fact, we've looked at some data that shows just how variable specialty crop prices can be over the season. If you get tomatoes, if you're first on the market with tomatoes, you might be getting $81 for a crate. In the height of the summer in July, when everyone has tomatoes, prices dropped at that produce auction to $8.50 for the same sized crate, as an example. So that's just something else to keep in mind. But we also just want to think about what are our production costs. So we're going to take a look at that a little bit today, but we have a video to help you go deeper. But then also your profitability expectations. And this tool was motivated by working with producers that had found one market channel that worked for them, but they wanted to go into other channels. And they were not sure how to price their product. And they were getting this idea that I want to go wholesale. I really want to scale up wholesale. I don't know how much of a margin I can give up. How do you help me understand that? So that's how and why we created the following tool that I'm excited to show you tonight. If you want to revisit these market channel characteristics, there's a guide sheet that kind of tries to walk you through each of these things, and it kind of makes some high level assumptions. I will say, this is big broad strokes. And depending on where you are, not all of these channels are going to be highly accessible. But really, we're here today to think about the difference in marketing time and expense so that helps you sort of understand how you make better informed decisions about entering these markets. So I want you to understand that today we're really talking about this very last piece of understanding how to cover our costs when we're setting prices. You've heard about enterprise budgets last week from Katie Nooner. That's really looking at the cost of production. There's an intermediate step for those of you who are selling a value added good. This is the additional cost you incur as you create a product from your produce or what you're raising in the field. And today we're going to look at this final piece, the market channel piece. To get started, we need to really think about creating sales forecasts. So I created this hypothetical example that we are going to work through. It is hypothetical. I'm sure many of you are going to find like, oh, I wouldn't do it that way, but bear with me because I think this tool only becomes real when we are looking at real numbers. So, okay, I need to create some sales forecasts for my business, and I want to be at the farmer's market for 20 days a year. I plan to sell 4 hours each day. I'll take more time to set up and pack up, but 4 hours of solid selling time. And I'm going to have one person there. So I've got 80 hours to sell. And I got to think, how many products can I sell in an hour? For my particular situation, which I'll go into some more details here in a second, I'm building in this idea of like the time it takes to attract a customer, to convert them into making a purchase, and to actually check them out. I also have to think about sort of average purchase sizes. How many items do they want to buy from me in a year? My example is freeze-dried elderberries. So I'm assuming they're I'm only going to sell maybe one of these per person, but I do expect some repeat customers. However, this is a very shelf-stable product, so I may only sell one bag per customer if they don't become a real consumer of that product. Um, so I kind of work through some of these thoughts about what I think might happen at the farmer's market, and I come up with this idea that I think I can sell 1,000 of these bags of freeze-dried elderberries at this farmer's market. That's selling one of these about every 4 to 6 minutes. Sometimes it'll go faster, sometimes it won't. But I'm because this is a new product that I'm bringing to market and I haven't sold it at the farmer's market before, doing this calculation, as rough as it is, will help me kind of gauge my progress on this sales forecast that I set up. So I'm going to say 1,000 items in a summer. Now, I also have this idea of working with a small regional chain of locally owned specialty grocery stores with a 6 month period. And I'm going to try to sell them cases, 18 packs to a case, uh, of my freeze-dried elderberry product. And it's got to be worth my time and their time. I'm going to say I can move almost 100 bags of elderberries a week through the grocery store chain, and they'll kind of let me know if they're interested in adding 1 to 3 stores. So across my 6 month time period, I'm forecasting I'm going to sell just over 2,500 units, packages of freeze-dried elderberries. And then I'm also, given the nature of this product, I really think that I could succeed online with this product. It's lightweight, it will ship well, and it's a specialty item. So I'm going to sort of say in a 6 month period post harvest, I'm going to try to really sell this 2 pack themed gift set. And I want to target 4 major holidays. And so if I can get 600 customers to buy in to this limited time gift pack, I might be able to sell 4,800 units through my online store. Now, that was messy, right? There was a lot of assumptions I had to make. And as somebody who's just now bringing this product to the market for the very first time, I'm very much doing this in the dark. But by, again, calculating it out, I can measure my success, my progress towards these sales goals. Before I go much further, though, I want to think about what I've just set out to do. So in total, I plan to sell that many items across 3 market channels. And I have to first ask myself, do I have enough labor to market my product? What's it take? So again, I had to do some work here to think through all of this. I'm going to need about 160 hours of labor at the farmer's market. If I plan to visit the grocery stores on a weekly basis for 6 months, and maybe it takes me 3 hours each time, each week to do that, I'm checking inventory, restocking, I might be doing an in-store demo and doing a little bit of travel time. That's 78 hours. And then again, if I think about fulfilling an online order, I want to actually sit down with my product and time myself from the time I see an order. How long does it take me to package, box, tape, affix a label, and have that item ready for pickup for delivery? I did that and it takes me 4 minutes per order. So based on my sales projections, that's 160 hours of labor to move that many orders. And then I also want to think about the time it's going to take me to truly launch this new product across 3 market channels. And I think it's going to be about 92 hours. So 500 hours in marketing time. This is assuming that all of my elderberries are already freeze dried and they're sitting in bags. So it is a substantial amount of labor to market this product. Other constraints to think about: do I have enough space available to grow, produce, store my product? And do I have enough upfront capital to really launch this? I'm assuming my production is already good and I don't have to worry about that. But I do want to think about some other costs. So now we want to think about our cost structure for our business. We're going to look at these costs, and there's two types of marketing costs. We're going to start by kind of looking at fixed costs and then look at specific market channel. But as a reminder, fixed costs are consistent regardless of the number of units we sell or which market channel we use. So if we do some market research, we're kind of doing that just generally about our product, perhaps. The time we spend crafting out our key messages and sort of designing labels for our product, that that is a fixed cost. If we hire a consultant or a freelancer to take videos, photography, work on a website for us, the website costs, the domain hosting. If we buy into an email distribution system, there may be additional charges as our users go up, but that's kind of an initial expense. And then, of course, we also have like our delivery vehicle storage space and the point of sale subscription or the hardware, which is separate from the transaction fees. So here's more details on my scenario and how I sort of went through this exercise in the hypothetical. I mentioned this is a novel product. And so I have an existing presence at the farmer's market and I've built up some contacts, but I've never launched a website before. And it's only because of this product that I really want to get into having an online website, moving beyond Facebook, and really buying into an email distribution system because I know my target market for this product is bigger than my existing market channel, which is just my local farmer's market. So I'm going to kind of walk you through how I got to some of these things. And I want to reinforce this idea that it really does take time to market our products well. So Taylor Ann went through a lot of this content in week 1, right? Like target customers, refining our pitch and how we position our products. I want to be intentional with my marketing efforts over a 6-month initial launch period for this product. So I actually want to review my sales by market channel on a weekly basis compared to my goals that I created in my sales forecast estimate. And I'm going to reflect on that and refine the strategies that I'm using to market my product. And I think I'm going to spend like 5.5 hours on this every month for 6 months. That is just how well is this product meeting the sales expectations that I set out for it? And when I see that I'm underperforming, what kinds of marketing efforts do I need to launch to try to see if I can get caught back up? But once I kind of do that strategy and build those, okay, I need this kind of campaign, I want to pursue this amount of advertising, now I can go and sit down and work on content creation. So I'm budgeting 10 hours a month to just focus on creating marketing content for my business. But in total, this is a significant amount of energy. I'm calling it my time. I could be outsourcing it. I set a $30 charge per hour because I want to recognize this is an investment. And I need to make sure I'm saving space for this in the portfolio of everything I'm trying to do as a small business owner and maybe learning when I do need to outsource and not. I'm also going to think about capital expenditures for this business. Talking to producers a lot of times, again, to go into multiple market channels or to truly do something different, they need additional storage delivery capacity. Some people may be working this into the break-even cost of their production, we chose to highlight it here, and you can enter things in here, or you can, kick these costs over somewhere else in your the way you look at the price of your products, to just highlight how important these constraints are, and to show producers, well, if you truly could ramp up sales, yes, you might need a delivery vehicle or you might need cold storage, but if you could ramp up sales, how much would you have to ramp up in order to truly afford to make these investments? Or how do you start renting capacity and then being ready to buy capacity? Um, and remember, we learned in week 1 about the farm storage facility loan through the Farm Service Agency, which might be a good fit to help you finance some of these on-farm investments. But I'm trying to help producers understand, yes, there are barriers in this space, but you can overcome them. So those were the big picture fixed cost for the business. Now we're going to look at some channel specific expenses. We're going to talk about labor, packaging and labels, delivery, and then those payment transaction fees. Um, and these vary related to your production volume. So again, I've worked out a scenario where my freeze-dried elderberries are going to go through 3 market channels, but I showed you these, I showed you my sales projections, but now I want to talk to you a little bit more about like how I came up with some of this stuff. So I'm going to start with my farmer's market scenario. I already said 20 markets within 6 months. I think it's going to take me 8 hours to be able to sell for 4 hours. I have an existing farmers market business. I'm just trying to bring a new product to this market channel as well as other market channels. But I think this product is only going to be about 10%, no more than 10% of my total farmers market sales. So as I work out what it costs me to be at the farmers market, I don't want to overly burden my brand new product by holding all of those costs. So I'm going to assign 90% of most cost outside of this product. But my labor, I actually plan on having a dedicated person focus on collecting feedback and offering samples of this product at the farmer's market to truly get a sense of, okay, what do customers like? What do they not like? How do I get more people interested in buying this product? And here I've got my processing fees for doing in-person transactions on my payment system that I've chosen. So it's 2.6% of all sales and 15%, 15 cents per transaction. So this is what the tool looks like. And you can see the calculator over here, the labor. Here you can kind of work out how much labor is it. And again, I'm going to hire someone. And I think I can get somebody to do this work who's passionate about it for $20 an hour. So I've entered that cost. I can also work out my mileage to getting back and forth to the farmer's market. I have a space to enter cost for my booth, my vendor permit, my displays, my signage. Again, these are all, oh shoot, whoops, I can see a mistake in my calculator. I meant to have the labor fully 100% focused on this business, but I did I slipped up and I entered 10% there as well. But the display signage, this is kind of my standard. It supports many things. I'm going to add a few things just for this product. So that's to help you sort of understand how to use this percent of cost assigned to this particular enterprise. And this is a spreadsheet tool. So what I can do is actually make some of these things link up to each other. So when I look at my sales transactions, my payment processing fees, I have this linked to my sales forecasts. So that formula is built in. 15 cents per number of units sold. I'm assuming 1 unit per transaction. and then that 2.6% on the total dollars that I'm selling. So that gives you a high level look at how we estimate out the cost of participating at the farmer's market. Let's move on to our next scenario. This is grocery stores. So again, I'm assuming this is my hypothetical scenario. I found this local specialty store. Because I'm offering a locally made product, it's novel, they don't currently sell it, they're not going to charge me any slotting fees in order to put that product on their shelf. Slotting fees are a really big deal for the beverage, anybody in the beverage space, particularly craft beers, craft whiskeys now. Stores only have so much shelf space in these areas. And so when there's a lot of competition, they actually sell the right to that brand to have a product sitting on the shelf. That's what we call a slotting fee. Paying a slotting fee wouldn't make a lot of sense for a single product, one package of elderberries, because my product could easily get kind of lost in the mix. This is why you'll see families of products from the same brand are all shelved together. And again, given the type of store, the amount of competition, brands are actually buying that space. And in fact, they'll pay more to be eye level than to be a few rows down. So it can be a really big deal for some industries. Uh, and they're also this because it's a small local store, another advantage is they're going to allow me to put small signs on next to the price. They have a format for that, but if I cover the cost, they will work with me to produce signs and have those tacked up next to the price that kind of shows my picture, tells my story. I've got about this much space to really make an impact to that grocery store customer. Okay, so how am I going to make this market work for me? As I said, I'm going to plan on being there every week. I'm going to visit every store that gets my product once a week. I need to take a pulse on how the product is featured. Maybe I could have a conversation with a store manager about getting a better placement in the store if sales start growing. I also want to use these visits as a chance to offer in-store demos on a rotating basis. And I just want to be able to monitor inventory levels. It's a smaller store. They're a little bit more reliant on me communicating with them and bringing them additional inventory when they need it. And it's important to me that my product stays stocked. So to do that, I've kind of planned down the labor. I've also set up a $500 budget to cover the cost of these in-store demos. And I'm trying to be really thoughtful about how to make this successful. As the grower of this product, I like to eat it on yogurt. So I'm actually looking for a local dairy producer who is making yogurt. Maybe we could do in-store demos together, or I could demo their product for them because I believe yogurt is a very good vehicle to demonstrate my product, the value of my product. That's an example, right, of how you want to think through how do I really capitalize on this market channel? I can't just like give my product to the store and hope that it all goes okay. I need to be very actively involved and be creative about thinking about how to get this product to move through this market channel. And then again, because of the payment system I use, to send an invoice and to track inventory, I actually face a 3.3% charge on sales and an extra 30 cents for every invoice that I send. So I'm going to invoice the store monthly. So I work through my scenario with the spreadsheet in front of me. The spreadsheet is really meant to help you think through these costs and go back and do some research and then come back and come up with a plan. Like, okay, if I'm serious about this market channel, this is how I'm really going to pursue sales in this channel. So you can see sort of how I have laid out my costs And yes, labor is a big part of that, but actually the transaction fees are what's eating this up. The fact that the payment system I chose charges 3.3% on total sales to send an invoice, I probably have the wrong system. I should look around, right? Or if you haven't yet purchased a system, this is where you can kind of work through what are these total fees going to end up coming back to me at. So I also know I need some grower certifications, which I already had, but this market channel requires that, and my other market channels really don't. So I went ahead and I built that cost into this market channel. The third market channel scenario that I have sort of scoped out is a look at online sales. So again, what are my assumptions? I've never had a business website. I've relied entirely on Facebook before, and I've never offered online sales before. That should be an or. So I know that selling through the website, in order to set this all up, I had to do some research and look at different systems. But the system I think I want to choose is so it's $500 to link payment processing to my website. It's 50 cents per item sold, but in return, I get some inventory management capabilities and I get label creation, which is going to make it speeds up my shipping process. However, I also pay 2.9% of the sale and a 30-cent transaction in order to take the credit cards. These two systems are working together. So how am I going to, what's my plan for this? I set out this idea that after I get all my elderberries harvested in late September, I've got some time to start dehydrating them and packaging them. I'm really ready to kind of roll this out before the holiday season. And so I'm going to try 4 intense 2-week promotions. Um, that's a time when I'm not busy in the field. So I've got more available labor to do this. And again, I worked out how much time it takes me to take that product from sitting on my shelf in my inventory room to being ready for FedEx to pick it up. The advantages with this product, it's lightweight. So I have minimal packaging cost. It cost me $1 to package this and $2.50 to mail a typical order, which I am designating as a 2-pack package. So I've done some work there, and that's how I have built out the labor required for this effort. The miles are fairly minimal. FedEx is coming to me, but I will have some trips into town to buy more packaging supplies and that kind of thing, but it's fairly minimal. Most of the cost here is shipping, although I feel fairly good about that, and maybe I could find some efficiencies. But shipping, payment processing, packaging, labor, that's really, and then the online storefront. Um, I don't have a cold product, right? I don't have a heavy product. So these costs are fairly minimal and they're scaled based on my total sales. So again, my shipping costs are going to go down if I sell fewer items. I only incur those as I sell things. Same with the transaction fees, right? Those are incurred as I make sales. The packaging, I'm going to buy somewhat in bulk, but I'm feeling fairly good about, all right, I'm understanding the cost structure here. And when I see that total shipping charge, it's a little shocking, but I'm going to just move forward and see where I'm at with this business. So the final tab pulls all of this stuff together. And I'm showing you the simplified version, and then I'll bring the spreadsheet back up and we can look at it. But let's start simple first. So first, my sales estimates or my forecast, right? Here's the numbers that I worked through to get to this total sales price. Okay. What did I do for this? I went online. I looked for what other people were doing. There's all kinds of people selling freeze-dried elderberries when you go looking for them. And so I decided that I'm going to sell them at my local farmers market a little bit cheaper than I sell them online because I'm feeling a little queasy about those shipping costs. And I know I'm reaching a broader swath of people. I can do some targeted ads, and I'm probably going to be able to reach people that are more of my target customer than just the people I can reach at my local farmers market. So I'm increasing my cost a little bit there. I know I have to give a discount to the grocery store. They're going to, they've got the store, they're the 24-hour in-person experience. Well, probably not 24 hours, but I I need to make sure they have a profit margin. Um, I looked online and grocery stores like to get around 18% profit margin for a shelf stable item as a minimum. It could go up from there. So I'm like backing off of my costs. And I'm saying at first glance, I think I can sell those for $12 and still be fine. So the tool is going to work out my annual sales estimates. And then it's going to show me, it's going to take all that data I entered on those earlier spreadsheets and show me how much it cost me in marketing costs to generate $1 of sales. So if you look at this, my most efficient market channel is actually my farmer's market, right? 15 cents for every dollar I generate in sales. Okay, that's interesting. I already know my break-even cost. So the tool, and I've entered that in the spreadsheet, it shows me my marketing costs plus my break-even costs. And then it shows me my potential profit per unit. It's actually highest when I sell online. I spend more to generate that sale, but given the sales price is higher, my overall profit is also higher. I'm more than offsetting the difference of 15 cents when I increase my price from $15 to $16.50. And then this gives me my per unit look. The overall potential profit multiplies this per unit by the number of units that I think I can sell. This is a very dynamic set of calculations because as you sell more, your marketing costs go down, the marketing cost to generate $1 in sales. So it's important. It's why we built the spreadsheet so that you can mess and do different scenarios to really kind of see how these things change in real time. And then when we're pricing our product, it's really important to have our business goals in mind, to have some sense of what is entering this business worth to me? What do I want to take away from this at the end of the day? Is it a 30% profit margin? Is it 35? Is it 50? Am I good if I can just make an extra $10,000? Like what are my goals here? So currently, I have an overall profit margin of 27.8%. That's a little bit low for me. I'm feeling like all of the work to generate $125,000 of sales, boy, 34,000, almost 35,000 is what I'm taking home. Now, remember, I'm factoring in the cost of my time so that when I look at this profit, it really is, profit. I'm not trying to take compensation from that already. And what's important is that this entire spreadsheet assumes a marketing and delivery budget. So the cost of running that truck that I need and all of my other expenses of $32,815. Another big motivator of why we created this tool is that when we talk to producers, they say, I ask, what's your marketing budget? I'm like, oh, I don't have one, which I just don't buy because you're spending dollars to market your product, whether you're aware of those dollars and whether you're tracking those dollars or not. So another motivation for this tool is to really help you track the dollars you're investing in marketing your business and to understand how, with some additional investments, you might really be able to be more bullish on your sales projections. So that's a high level look here. We talked about profit margins and our overall profit margin. I wanted to also break that down for you across these different market channels. Unsurprisingly, grocery stores should have a lower profit margin, and it's why we really need to sell at very large volumes to kind of make up for that. But our farmers market margin and our online margin are close, based on a lot of our assumptions about how much we'll truly sell in each of these markets. The advantage to tracking sales and coming back to this spreadsheet is that you're going to see how these things evolve over the course of your sales season. So, okay, now let's think about how we can kind of mess this up a little bit. We got to level one of this, which was all the work to just create these scenarios. But now let's actually see what happens when things change. So here's where I've entered my break even. Here's a direct link to get to the break even analysis tool if you need it. I'm not super happy with this. I'd like to see a higher profit margin. So what if I just ditch my grocery store idea? It's a little far-fetched. It's the first year of my business. I don't know. I'm not feeling it. What happens? Well, my sales have dropped. My total profits declined by just 3,200. Although that market was selling a fair amount of product, it wasn't producing a lot of profit. And my overall profitability increases to 33.4%. So now let's do a second scenario where we look at adjusting. Let's say we flip. I've never launched an online store. What if I really can't do it that well? But I'm going to say that I can still sell. What if I can hypothetically sell the same amount of total product, but my market channels flip? So here, I've lost $5,000 in total profit, and my margins have gone down to higher than what they were with grocery stores, but lower, a little bit lower, very close to that 30%. So that kind of gives me like a backup plan. If my first intensive 2-week sales period online doesn't get anywhere near expectations, I can really try to just double down on my farmers market work and see if I can get on course to selling 5,800 units over my sales season. I've made a lot of investments to get that online store up and running, which are going to become sort of, sunk costs, right? It's why you see what that difference between farmers market sales and online sales used to be very close. Now it's gotten a lot higher because I'm selling a lot fewer units through that online store. But I still had all of the same upfront costs to launch the website and the store. So that is, Gladys, I see your question about a good profit margin for produce. Really, it depends a lot on your scale and what you're trying to do. Smaller scale producers should be aiming for higher profit margins because you have less of a cushion for when things go wrong, when production gets disrupted. So that 30% is not actually supposed to be product specific. It's a what a lot of people tell me they kind of aim for is their floor, whether they're doing fresh or processed. And for processed, you know, people sometimes want to get more for that. but it varies on where you are and where you're selling. And then in our last scenario here, we're gonna assume that like I want to double down on this grocery store idea. I'm really serious about it. Um, I think that it's just a good thing, and I want to see what it's going to take to make it work. So, what if I sell 19,000 units? That's what it takes in order to generate roughly the same amount of profit from grocery sales as from my online market because I'm just giving up so much of the margin to the real retailer. But I love scenarios. And when you do the hard work of sort of picking out some, what might happen, then you can come here and really play around and see what's going on. And when you double down on your grocery store sales, you can see at this price point, your overall business profit margin has dropped to 18%. So I don't think this is very sustainable. So what if we can get our retailer to go up $1? All right, we've made a little headway. I'm still not comfortable with that margin. So can I get them to buy in at $14? That means their shelf price is gonna be a good 20% higher. Um, Maybe customers will still buy that. Maybe they really are in a dense urban area and that's no problem. But this is just gives you different examples of how to use this and very quickly see some different kinds of scenarios for what you're doing. Hopefully this has been useful. I wanted to kind of revisit some of that earlier content that when I was showing you, it probably didn't make a lot of sense. And I struggled a lot with how to structure this presentation because I think there's nothing better than actually getting in the tool and just messing around. But like I said a minute ago, after you do all this and you've got your plan refined, now you really want to take a step back and review that you are budging in enough effort to do the things you need to do to succeed. So let's go back and see how I did. So I think I thought in over this 6 month time frame, if I spent about less than 5.5 hours a month, I would have enough time to kind of create, set up, and advertise in-store demos. The actual demo time is counted elsewhere. Um, I'm going to promote my farmers market appearances and develop content that's different. I can't reuse that, right? It's different content. I've got an online store. I've got a Facebook. I can have videos that maybe talk about multiple market channels, but again, they're probably going to just highlight consumer education and try to get people to use this freeze-dried elderberry product more often so they're not just buying one package for the entire farmers market season or only coming to the website once. I want to get repeat customers. So I'm also going to develop some recipe cards to hand out or put on my website. That's a nice thing that can kind of live across market channels. Um, and then key to this is this idea of how do I really launch a brand new channel all on my own? The grocery store is already there. I just have to help people find my product in that store. The farmer's market is already there. I can always do more to advertise and draw awareness to that farmer's market and my business at that market, but it exists. Launching an online store does not get me any sales unless I go out and find that audience and bring that audience to my website. So how am I going to do that? How much time do I need to budget for that? And here I'm kind of laying out over my 6 month time frame. I really want to hit sales hard when I first launch. Then I'm gonna be ready for Thanksgiving. I'm gonna be ready for Christmas. I'm gonna take a break. And then Valentine's Day, my product turns yogurt bright pink. It's a beautiful color and it ties into that holiday. I'm gonna try to work on that marketing pitch to have another 2 week focused marketing effort to drive traffic to my website around Valentine's Day, leading up to Valentine's Day. Do I have enough time to do all those things? I'm gonna have to really think about that, right? Um, and then after that's the strategy side, right? I have to think through these ideas and like, what do I need and when can I use this content and who needs to be in charge of creating the content? Then it's the sitting down and actually making the content, getting it done, reviewing it, getting it, distributed through whatever media channels that I'm using. And again, just like Mel said, the more market channels you're in, like they have their own peculiarities. You have to create marketing that really speaks to that market channel. So I don't know the answer. It's a hypothetical situation, but I may be feeling a little bit like I'm not sure I've dedicated enough time if I truly want to launch my a brand new website, creating my own market that no one is going to know about. So, as I mentioned, I think there's multiple ways to use this, but to recap, right? It's in the planning stage when you're trying to set prices, when you're planning for all those marketing investments. After you launch, it's looking in on it. I prefer weekly, but definitely monthly to just monitor how your sales are unfolding across channels and to redeploy your marketing efforts, right? To realize, wow, this online store is not getting it done. Whatever I'm doing, it's not working. What do I need to do differently? Um, I need to put more effort or energy into this, or I need to wholesale pivot, recognizing, yes, I've made a lot of investments in setting up this store that I cannot get back. And then again, end of year, when all of that we're beyond hypotheticals and it's reality. We're looking back on what really happened, what our actual sales were across market channels. You may be able to refine some of your costs that did happen or didn't happen or were unexpected, and to just have that, okay, this is what happened. What do I want to do differently next time, next season, next year, next month? Um, those are sort of my strong suggestions for how to use this tool. And I'm bringing this slide, I'm calling back this slide as well to reinforce the idea that markets really should change for a lot of businesses for good reasons. Um, Especially the more dynamic you're trying to be and the more specific you are about what you want your business to do. Not everyone has a really robust farmers market to use as a market channel. A lot of farmers get burnt out at the farmers market year after year after year. It's just not a good fit for their personality or their time. And so they want to get in a different channel. Um, and as you create new products or you switch up your product mix, again, working in channels that give you the right profit margin is really important. So you want to use trial and error, keep track, identify the market channel wins and losses for your business. Going back to my hypothetical example, so I've identified that I want my farmer's market. It's still a good fit for my business right now because I can sell at a higher price point. I'm okay moving small volume items because what I want to do with this farmer's market is really refine my product, how I'm packaging it, how I'm pitching it, and that price setting. So the downside is I know it's going to be labor intensive. I've got to hire someone to do this work effectively. I don't want to try to just sell this product on the side with everything else that I'm doing because I know I'm busy at the farmer's market. I care about this product. I want to see it launch. And so I'm making a significant investment. The other, kind of downside is there's fluctuating competition. What if another elderberry producer suddenly shows up at my farmer's market? Um, Boy, I may not be able to even sell 1,000 items. And it is kind of emotionally exhaustive to be in front of the public all the time. My online store, um, it's really good for an established product line. It does allow 24-hour sales, but I've really got to think hard about the startup costs, the packaging challenges. I feel fairly good, but I do need to test mailing this product to make sure that whatever the low dollar packaging I've selected, make sure my product will get to destinations unscathed. So I'm going to do a pilot run and mail some things to friends and family across the United States, and I want them to document what the package looked like when it appeared, because I may not have the right packaging quite figured out. And it just takes a higher marketing commitment up front to truly launch this. So I need to be really cognizant about that. The grocery store, unless I can get that price point up significantly, which would mean I really should adjust all my prices up because I kind of ended it with the grocery store being very close to the farmer's market. The margins were too low. It just requires such a high volume. Yes, it has lower labor, but for me now, this is not a good market channel fit. If I am able to scale, if I start buying elderberries from other producers, if I get really efficient in my processing space and I build that out and I hire people and I get great brand recognition, then maybe grocery stores are a good fit. But that's kind of what I wanted to work through with you here tonight. We were very efficient in our time and we kind of walked through these learning objectives. And I wanted to return to talking to you about FSA loan programs. So we have a partnership with the Farm Service Agency, FSA. They are very cognizant and interested in trying to figure out how to make the USDA Farm Service Agency more accessible to farms, particularly farms outside of commodity markets. So specialty crop farms, fruits, vegetables, honeybees, all of that. So we have a partnership with them, and part of what we try to do now in our work is to just educate people about their existence, about their programs, and to really encourage you to visit your local FSA office and learn more in person. So this is our partner, Callie Turner. She works over in St. Louis, and they offer a variety of loans. But you learned about farm storage facility loans before. Here, we wanted to just briefly show you the direct farm ownership loans and the different ways that you can work directly with the Farm Service Agency or work in partnership with another lender through their guaranteed loan program. So they have different parameters and borrowing limits and rates for each of those programs. So use this tool to learn more and really think about how you might utilize FSA programs to grow, launch, start your business. And as a reminder, just a callback, in case some of you were not really ready for this presentation, think about who are your customers. Use Intel for Ag to pull a very quick market intelligence report for your area. It may help you kind of figure out what geographic space makes the most sense to market your product. Thank you so much for your time tonight, and have a good evening.